Hi, everybody. Mike Beer with your DRF race of the day for Thursday, November 19th, or December 19th, excuse me. We're going down to Aqueduct for the race of the day on Thursday. It's race number 8. We're going to close out the Thursday card at the Big A with New York bred 2-year-old fillies, maiden special weight. They're going to go a 1-turn mile on the main track. A field of 11, including an entry here, the number 1 entry from F&F stable. There'll probably be a pretty big price in this race. But overall, I think it's a pretty compelling field of New York bred fillies, because a lot of horses I feel like in this race who showed a little something, the ones that have run. There are a couple of horses in this field that have, maybe only run once or twice, but have shown a little bit of potential. Horses that you feel like they might be able to take a step forward in this race, and they actually might turn out to be okay as time goes on. Get a look at the field here. You can see that there's it's a big field. There are probably a lot of different ways to go in here. But I just wanted to focus on a couple of different horses in this race. And I wanted to start down on the rail with the number 2, Impress the Professor, because this is the kind of horse who I feel like you might just look at this filly on paper and say, you know what, they debuted her for a $40,000 tag. She got outrun early and made up ground late, and now they're going to step her up into a maiden special weight race. It's probably just going to be too tough for her. And I'm not really sure that that's the case with this filly. Yes, she did not break that well off to the back of the field in her debut and was outrun. But she actually made a strong run through the stretch in that race to gain ground every step of the way, only beaten a little bit more than a length when all was said and done. And I actually felt like she ran really well in that race. The other thing I think to consider about that career debut on November 21st is it was a maiden 40, but it was a pretty strong one. The horse that won that race, Officer Hutchie, came back and ran second in the stakes race over the weekend. That was a pretty good field overall. And Impress the Professor, she ran okay. One other thing to note about Impress the Professor is she's got pedigree on the bottom to stretch out. This is a field or a family full of dirt routers in her pedigree. So she has a license to improve for the run that she had first time out. And she has a license to really appreciate getting the mile. This is not a horse that I would dismiss lightly, even though she's stepping up in class. I thought Dancing Keke, the 3, I don't think she's impossible. I guess the question with her is, can she run back to the race she ran 2 starts back in her second career start? She was well beaten in second that day, but behind a good horse in Playtone. And I thought she ran okay down on the inside all the way, raced on pretty well through the stretch to be second best. She did not run as well in her most recent start. Did get wired, but really didn't show that much in there. So the question with Dancing Keke is, was that second start of her career just a little bit of an aberration, or is that a race that she can build upon? If you think she can build upon it, she's probably going to be a pretty good price in this race. The 4 is Courageous Girl. We don't have a pace projector for this race because we just don't have enough data to make one, but it feels like Courageous Girl could make the lead in this race. We'll see what happens. Her last 2 dirt starts, there's a turf start in between there. Her last 2 dirt starts, though, both races that came off the turf, and she did make the lead both times. I don't know. That was a pretty soft pace last time, though. She got right to the front in there in a very short field, rated it early, and then tried to race the winner around the turn when she came to challenge. She didn't run poorly, Courageous Girl, but she didn't have an excuse either. I can see her being a contender in here, but I didn't really love her chances. We'll see if she can take a little bit of a step forward in this race, because I think she's going to have to. One of the interesting contenders in the race, and a horse you really need to make a decision about, is the number 8, I'm Fine. Debuted in open company at Ellis Park back on September 1st, and that was on turf when she was in Brendan Walsh's barn. She is getting a trainer change to Jeremiah Englehart for this, and she's going to switch over to the main track. 2 things that I think are important about I'm Fine. First of all, she's got some dirt pedigree, so I don't really think you need to concern yourself too much with the surface switch. Her dam, who went 0 for 7, Stormy Crest, is a sister to West Coast, of course, a Travers winner, a very good dirt horse, and this filly's second dam is Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies winner Caressing. So there is dirt in the pedigree, and this filly debuted on turf. And more than anything, she did have spots of trouble in that race after breaking slowly, but more than anything, she just looked like a horse who really needed her career debut. She was very green from start to finish of that race, but she was finishing with some interest at the end and wound up getting up for 3rd. She actually ran pretty well first time out. She has pedigree to handle the switch from turf to dirt. Any improvement with this filly and taking to the main track, I think she's going to be pretty tough in here. So she's a horse that that I wanted to consider anyway, and that I'm going to use. But I didn't put her on top. I put her third in my selections, and I put on the Impress the Professor, another horse we already talked about, second. My top pick in the race is going to be number 9, My Michele. This is another filly who debuted in a race that was rained off the turf. In fact, she was in that same Courageous Girl race that I just mentioned. And what I liked about My Michele in that race is she was tracking that slow pace early in there. It's just her career debut going long. But once the 1-2 finisher sort of really picked up the pace around the turn and started racing, you could see My Michele sort of struggle to keep up with those horses. She lost some position coming into the stretch, and then she was really racing on well again at the end of that race. I liked the way that she finished in there. Looked like a filly to me who needed that effort, and it's not easy to debut going 8.5 furlongs anyway. I think it's the kind of race she might have really needed, but I like the way that she was racing on, and I feel like this race might be more run more to suit her. It's a stronger field. I think the pace might be a little more competitive, and My Michele just feels like a filly who could really take a step forward here in her second career start. I'm hoping that she's an okay price in here because I think there are different ways to go, but I like My Michele in here. I put her on top. I went 9-2, 8, and 3 for my selections. That is the DRF.com race of the day for Thursday. It's Aqueduct's finale, race number 8. The approximate post time is 3:58 Eastern time. Good luck.